What's up, guys? Thanks for watching another Jaguars United film breakdown. Today, we're breaking down none other than Notre Dame safety Kyle Hamilton. If you know me, you know that I love the secondary. I love defense, so I'm super excited about this film breakdown. Make sure to like and subscribe to follow all the social media channels so you can get notifications for when we break down all of the other players in this year's draft. We're really excited, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So before we jump into the film, there's a couple things that I just want to mention about Hamilton that I think is important to know. I mean, at 6'4", 220, I mean, he's insanely big for a safety in the NFL. I mean, that gives you like Cam Chancellor vibes. Like I was looking back, one of my favorite prospects coming out in a while was Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. And although he's yet to make the full transition to the NFL, I just liked his athleticism and his size. And Kyle Hamilton's like 18 pounds lighter than Isaiah Simmons. That's it. Like that, the same size and everything. So to think that Hamilton couldn't be linebacker size isn't outside of the realm of possibility. Now, I think he's better suited as a player in the secondary, as safety, but I could definitely see him playing down in the box more in the NFL than he did in college. I mean, he had 8 interceptions in 2.5 years, but it's really hard to evaluate secondary film in college because a lot of teams just don't throw in your direction. I mean, when they know you're one of the best players on the field, they just stay away from you. It's a really good tactic, but the defensive coordinator last year, who's now the head coach, Marcus Freeman, really had a very complicated defense. I mean, they disguised everything pre-snap. I mean, a lot of it was hard to know what they were doing. I mean, it looked like a lot of quarter halves, a lot of cover 6, which is good because a lot of NFL teams do some sort of hybrid version of that. But he showed his ability to play cover 2 and cover 3. He can kind of do it all, and that's what you want from a guy that's coming out of the college that's going to be drafted that high. I mean, really big. He's versatile, can play all over the place. Really high football IQ. I mean, he's making all the checks pre-snap. He's doing all the things to let his team know where he's at. He's not afraid to hit people. He loves hitting wide receivers across the middle of the field. I mean, I think I saw 2 ejections in just the film that I watched for helmet-to-helmet hits. One thing I like to look for in defensive backs is the fluidity of their hips. So basically what that means is like, how low do they get when they turn? Like how smooth are they turning from side to side when they do baseball turns or open up their hips from different directions? But he's going to have the potential to be able to man cover, zone cover, pass catching tight ends in the NFL. And that's so massive nowadays. So his long stride helps him. His size and length helps him, again, on the sidelines and coverage. Good tackler. If there's a couple things I think he needs to work on. I think his effort wasn't there at times, but it was just kind of when he needed it. I think he's gonna have trouble maybe covering some top speed guys in the NFL, but everybody does. He could work a little bit on pattern matching and things like that, but nothing that I think says he'll be outside of a top 10 pick. And I think some team will be really happy with him. Stay tuned to the end of the film breakdown. I'm going to give you my grade on him overall. So make sure you check that out. But without further ado, let's just jump right into the film. Now, the first play I want to show is Kyle Hamilton's kind of like rangy ability to get from sideline to sideline. See, the NFL has become much more of a spread game, and you kind of have to be able to get sideline to sideline if you're going to excel at this high level here. So we're going to see Kyle Hamilton lined up like he does most of the time to the field, basically, because that's what they're going to probably declare the strength in their defense. And Notre Dame runs a lot of disguised coverages, and it made it kind of difficult to understand what his assignment was pre-snap. But we're going to see on this play that he's basically going to have middle thirds at the snap, and the strong safety is going to roll down and play in the box. So your basic cover 1 or cover 3, whatever it's called, you're going to see it called there, and you're going to see that Florida State is the quarterback's going to look basically immediately wanting to go to this sideline here. So if we play the tape here, we can see he kind of does a little half shuffle like you like to see DBs do. We call that a read step right here. He gets into his read steps. He figures out the quarterback is escaping the pocket, rolling out to his right. So immediately Hamilton's going to start blitzing to the other side of the field. He sees an open receiver. I mean, this is blown coverage. Like if we take a look at what happens here, like not a great throw from the quarterback, but right here you can see that the Notre Dame defensive back just gets his eyes just completely caught up in the backfield. I don't know if he's thinking that he's going to run or he's going to try to cut off this little dig route that's coming across the middle here. I don't really know what he's doing, but if it's not for Kyle Hamilton here getting to the sideline, then this play probably goes for 7. And at this point in the game, Notre Dame's only up by 4. I mean, it's a very competitive game, and this game ended up going to overtime, and they needed every single big play that happened. And Hamilton's going to get to the sideline and make an amazing catch here. And I mean, we're going to see it from this angle here. Again, there's the read steps. He just gets on his horse, gets across the field here, and just cuts off the play. I mean, that's what you want from an NFL type safety. And there's a lot of people that are questioning his ability to play that free safety in the NFL. And admittedly, he may have problems covering speed threats like Tyreek Hill and guys that burn down the field like Justin Jefferson. But every safety struggles with that. So I don't think he'd be unique in those struggles. But you can see here his ranginess. And a lot of people say about, he did get unsportsmanlike conduct here, but a lot of people say about him is that he has a high football IQ. And you can definitely see it from on the field that he's the guy that's the captain of the defense. He's the guy that's calling all the audibles and making all the checks and adjustments. And you can see here that he has the ball skills to back it up. And so that's going to be very important for him as he transitions to the NFL. And this is what scouts love about him. He's just really athletic. I mean, a high school basketball player, knows how to make the plays, knows how to make the reads, and just overall just has what it takes to play that safety position. And his pass coverage skills were things that people were worried about because of his height. But I think we can see here that, I mean, he's does not lack moxie, and he does not lack the ability to go and get the ball. I like this clip from the 2019 season when Notre Dame played Virginia, and it's toward the end of the game, but I like this because it kind of shows where I think Kyle Hamilton might end up playing more in the NFL. I mean, given his size and his athleticism, I could see him kind of playing more in the box and kind of playing up in run support and covering tight ends and man-to-man coverage. And what I like about this play is he kind of shows his ability to play that middle of the field zone instead of that free safety type. Again, it just shows his versatility and the ability to play kind of everywhere. So here you're going to see him down close to the line of scrimmage. You don't see a lot of this as he became a junior and the captain of the team and kind of the guy that kind of was making the checks and the audibles. But here you're actually going to see him do a rare like blitz, kind of a show blitz, but he's not going to actually blitz. He's going to actually bail and play in this middle of the field zone right here. And so Notre Dame drops into a cover 2, which is always nice to see. They were a little more traditional back in 2019. And so here we're going to see kind of what he can do from that position here. So he's going to show the blitz here. He's going to end up bailing, and he's going to read the quarterback's eyes. And again, just make another great athletic play in the middle of the field. Much like the first clip that we saw, I mean, you can see his ability to really just make a play on the ball. I mean, if we see it from this angle here, again, you know, they're going to circle him there and show what he does here. But watch his ability to read the quarterback's eyes. He's playing a little high here, but I mean, he was a freshman, right? He locates the play. I mean, because look, I mean, if you look at where they're at, I mean, the defense is they're in a cover 2 shell here. They got 2 deep safeties. The corners are playing hard boundaries there. You have a linebacker playing this half. He's playing this half. I mean, this is just your basic cover 2. And really the quarterback does find the soft spot of the zone. I mean, this is a good recognition of what's open. The pass was a little late. Maybe should have made the throw already at this point, but gonna try to fire it in there, and then Hamilton's gonna make a great play on the ball. I mean, he lays out for the ball, and again, shows his ball skills and just shows why everyone is saying he's gonna be a top pick in this draft is because of his ability to just make freakishly athletic plays. I mean, for a guy to do this and a guy to be able to kind of read the quarterback's eyes and be a game changer is really rare. And especially nowadays with the emergence of the pass and the throwing to the tight ends, you have to have a guy that's big that can play against these big receiving tight ends. And I think that's going to make him very valuable in this NFL defense. And some teams are going to be really happy to have him. So I loved his Purdue film from 2021. I mean, I thought he just kind of put it all together and kind of exemplified everything that he is against this Purdue team. And one of the things that we've seen his ball skills, his athleticism, but however you want to paint the picture, you have to be able to play downhill in the NFL. I mean, yes, it's a passing league, but if NFLs sniff out the fact that they can just run on you, they will run on you. We've seen teams make runs in the playoffs deep just because they can run on the other team and the O-line just makes plays. And as a safety, and again, I kind of see Hamilton end up playing closer to the line of scrimmage as he goes into the NFL. You have to be able to come downhill. Now, there's no denying I had some slight concerns early in his film about just kind of his aggressiveness to attack the ball. but he's kind of one of those players that like can do it if he has to. You know what I mean? Like if he doesn't have to and he thinks his team's there and he won't. But in this situation, you can see it's 4th and 1. I mean, this is a major turning point in the game. And Hamilton's going to be here. He's always in that like lurking position. He's so tall. I mean, he's just you can identify him a mile away from where he's at. And Purdue's going to come out in their heavy package. And admittedly, Notre Dame's not lined up great for this. I mean, Notre Dame is going to have all of their defensive linemen kind of in this like semi-bare front, kind of between the guards and the tackles to the boundary side of the field. And Purdue's just going to end up flowing everything field side. And again, Hamilton's our field side strong safety in this position. And he's going to have to kind of come up and not only make a tackle, but he's going to have to play through traffic. And I like to identify safeties and their ability to kind of get through the traffic here. And you're going to see Hamilton makes a great play. I mean, there's so many things that I like about this play that we're going to have to watch it a couple times. And I think they're going to show us a reverse angle here. Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to see him lined up here. And I mean, this is a hard tackle to make. I mean, they only need to 1 yard and he's going to have to get here and get through a lot of traffic to get to the ball carrier. So watch him as he comes downhill, missiles. I mean, as soon as he recognizes the play, I mean, he is coming downhill. He's going to get through. I mean, maybe the tight end misses a block there, but gets there and makes a great play. I mean, look at his eyes, just watching what's happened, doesn't get caught up in too much, sees what he has to do, has the athleticism to make this tackle here. Now, look, another thing about defensive backs is I'll pause it here because defensive backs, if you're going to be a good tackler as a defensive back in the NFL or in college, you have to be able to cut tackle. You've got to be able to cut tackle. I mean, I've seen some people, I watched a lot of Sauce Gardner's film, Derek Stingley's film. No one cut tackles like Hamilton does. Gets his legs, barrel rolls. I mean, he does this time and time again. I mean, that's how you have to tackle. I mean, even at 6'4", 220, I mean, you're going to go up against guys that are coming downhill that way more than you. Derrick Henry, the list goes on and on of big backs. Even quarterbacks nowadays are big. And you have to be able to cut tackle like this. And this is just a beautiful cut tackle. So not only does he get through the traffic and takes the proper angle with speed and acceleration, he makes the perfect tackle to stop the ball. And so excited about his ability to make plays behind the line of scrimmage like this. And if he can do this in the NFL, I mean, he may be the complete safety. Now, this is the type of play that might fly under the radar to some people, but this was a pretty interesting play to me. I mean, Cincinnati's offense was pretty good. I mean, Desmond Ridder is going to be one of the first quarterbacks taken in the draft. And I mean, they had some talent on this team. They spread out the field. They play quick, and it made the defensive coordinator, Freeman, it made him kind of get away from his gimmicky stuff and his disguising coverages pre-snap and kind of forced Notre Dame to kind of play man-to-man and kind of play straight up, which kind of allowed us to see what Hamilton can do like in this situation. So here we're going to see a great matchup. I loved this matchup all game. Josh Weil right here, okay? Josh Weil, 6'6", 245. Kyle Hamilton, 6'4", 220. Why do I like this matchup? Because this is the type of matchup that you're going to see in the NFL. Like, one of Kyle Hamilton's best traits is that he's going to be able to cover man-to-man pass catching tight ends in the NFL. I mean, there's such a premium on that nowadays because of the way that tight ends have just opened up the game. So Notre Dame just has to declare that they're going to be in a straight cover one. That's man here. He's playing middle of the field, free safety. You have a man here, a nickelback playing man here. And what's going to make this interesting is that the tight end here, Weil, is going to run a little out and up route. And then you're going to have a little inside route by the slot receiver. And this is an insanely difficult route to cover as your defensive back. I mean, it's kind of like the perfect play call to man coverage. And I wanted to kind of see how Hamilton would handle this here. So if you watch Hamilton here, watch how he just handles this tight end here. So initially you're going to have a little, I think they do a play action pre-snap. No, they don't. He just drops straight back into a little 3-step drop. You can see the little swap here that happens. All right. The little out and up here, I mean, that's a really hard route to cover. And Hamilton's, I mean, it's not incredibly easy to see, but Hamilton stays on his hip the entire way. And because he stays on his hip, he forces Desmond Ridder to throw it like underthrown because he's not open. And because he's not open, I mean, he was about a yard away from the other safety getting an interception. So you can see how he was able to make a play, almost create a turnover because of his ability to cover a really hard route to cover. I mean, that's right. I mean, that's right there. I mean, when you have a tight end running a crossing route and you have them running a little pick play and a little out and up, like this is a hard position to be in. I mean, you can't be on the hip any more than he is here. And he just does it. I mean, look at this route again. I mean, look at what look at the route tree progression that happens over here. I mean, that's tough to cover. He catches them, he stays on them. That's a backyard coverage play. He does a great job on it. And again, if he's going to be asked to cover move tight ends and stand up tight ends and guys that are 6'6", 250, the way that Weil is, you want him to be in this position when you're 20 yards down the field. So the NFL teams are going to love his ability to cover tight ends in the slot. And honestly, Hamilton did a really good job lining up in the slot all year. So look for NFL teams to use him in this situation. And I'm excited to see how he covers some of these move tight ends. All right, I had to throw this play in there just because I like it. And it's kind of, I mean, I love football instincts. Anyone that watches any of my breakdowns knows that I just go on and on about football instincts. And Hamilton has them. I mean, there's nothing fancy about what happens here with this coverage. There's nothing fancy. Hamilton's going to be here. It's the fourth quarter. It's just like the time's running out of the game. Purdue's down by 2 touchdowns. There's 2 minutes left in the game. This is what we would call garbage time. So not much to analyze here as far as coverage. I mean, just look at the coverage that Notre Dame's in. I mean, this is some sort of prevent inside the 10-yard line or whatever, like a cover 3. But watch what's going to happen. Again, he's going to be matched up with this tight end essentially. I mean, they are playing a zone, but he's going to end up having to cover him. But watch just his football instincts on this play. Just going to be shadowing here, and then bam! Oh, balls in Hamilton's hands, like just out of nowhere, balls in his hands. And if you don't think that's impressive, wait till you watch the reverse angle here. I mean, so we have Hamilton here, obviously, number 14, and he's just going to be shadowing this tight end here. Throw in his hand. Now, I busted the stop clock out, and because I wanted to see the reaction time that it would take for him to catch this ball. He had less than half of a second to react from the tip to get that ball. I mean, that's just reflexes and instincts. And this is just a microcosm of Hamilton's game. Like, he does this time and time again, whether it's covering routes, making a play on the ball, reading the gap to run through to make a tackle. He does this over and over and over again because he's just a football player. And at the end of the day, like, you can have all the measurables you want. I mean, his 40 time wasn't blazing fast. His 3-cone shuttle, whatever, average. But you can't teach being a football player. And I will say this time and time again. You cannot, I mean, instincts, it's all about instincts. And making a play like this is what it's all about. That's the reason why Kyle Hamilton is going to be one of the first players taken in this draft. And if he's not, it's an absolute travesty. I mean, if my team needed defensive help, he might be the first place I go. The first place I go over the DNs and all of those things, just because he's a football player. And I know Hutchinson's a football player. Thibodeau's a football player. There's just something about Kyle Hamilton that just screams athlete and just phenomenal. So super excited for him. Really, really am. Overall, I give Kyle Hamilton an A- as a draft prospect. And really, there's no slight at him. He's really close to an A, in my opinion. I mean, his measurables are through the roof. I mean, a 6'4", 220, a 4'5'9", 40, a 4'3'2", 20-yard shuttle, and a 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump is all you can ask for from an athlete. I mean, his strengths are, like I said, his size and his length. I mean, just that size at 6'4", and the length that he has to be able to play in the coverage and downfield in the box is really going to help some team. His football IQ is through the roof. I mean, he's just knows what's going to happen. Very instinctual. Can be the captain of your defense from the box, from free safety, from all over the field. And finally, his athleticism. His athleticism is up there with some of the best prospects I've ever evaluated. I mean, ever. I mean, he's just really athletic, can do it all. For him, it's going to be just finding a team that is willing to invest a high draft pick in a defensive player, because you can plug him in at any role in defense. I mean, whether it be the nickel corner, box safety, a free safety. You can play him in every sort of situation, every down and distance. He's going to help your team. So really excited about his future. I mean, if I had to speculate, I think he goes top 5. I've seen mocks where he goes as low as 13, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use a safety. Carolina, New York Jets. There's a lot of teams out there that really could use a guy like him to just be a playmaker on defense. And with the emergence of the NFL's offense, and you really need a guy like this that can do it all. So expecting big things out of Kyle Hamilton, and then just really think he's going to make some team really, really happy. I mean, I would love to have him on my team just because I'm a fanboy for these types of athletic safeties and secondary players. So really excited to see what he does in the future. All right, guys, thanks for watching another Jaguars United film breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a comment on what you thought about Hamilton and anyone else. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you get notifications for when we do all the other film breakdowns. We're breaking down all the other high-profile draftees of 2022. So really excited about that. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, all those things. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, and we'll see you on the next video.